If you want to become successful in life, being able to have a thought and to convey that thought to another person in a coherent and concise manner is something that is super important. Most people struggle with communication. They can't speak in an effective way, so no one understands them. And it can be frustrating when you're trying to communicate something, but people just don't get what you're saying. It's actually one of the most common things that people ask me about on social media, on my TikTok. I have 170,000 followers over there. Check it out. So in this video, I'm going to teach you how to become an effective communicator. And you can start applying everything that I'm saying straight away. That's why it's quick. So the first way you're going to become an effective communicator is by slowing down. You speak way too quickly. A lot of the people who I see struggling with effective communication speak so fast. I was just giving a speech the other day at this 10-year memorial service a few days ago. And I gave a speech. I wasn't even told I have to give a speech, so it was impromptu. It was off the cuff. It went really well though. But after me, there was another person who spoke. And you could tell that it wasn't something that they did often. And the one thing that they did that I think they could have improved on was they spoke so quickly. They had their head down. They weren't even looking at the crowd. Yeah, so I think it's really important that that you do this. I know, but it was too fast. But the thing is, when you're nervous, when you're speaking in front of other people and you're trying to communicate effectively, we often think that we're speaking way too slowly. That's why you speed up. You think that people are tired of hearing your voice, that they're going to lose focus and they're going to be looking somewhere else. And that's actually part of a wider problem. Maybe when you were younger, you were trying to share your thoughts and your ideas with your parents maybe, or your siblings, but no one listened to you. So you thought the only way for me to communicate with my family and the ones I love is for me to speed up. Maybe that will make them listen to me. And that's why you speak so quickly. Yeah, so that's why I did this but no one can understand you when you speak so quickly. You need to slow down. You need to realize that your words are valuable and that you don't need to rush. When you rush, you're not speaking clearly. You can't even think about what you want to say and then say it. You're just saying it. We all know from school, if you write an essay without making a plan first, that essay isn't going to be as good as the one that's planned before writing. You need to slow down, think about what you say, then say it. You're probably surrounded by friends who don't think about the same things as you. You're watching this video, so I know you're a certain type of person. You want to be successful. You want to reach your full potential. You're interested in self-improvement. But the friends you're around, they're probably not like that. So when you share some of your ideas, you often find they cut you off. You often find that they're not listening. So instead of continuing or finding new friends to share these kind of ideas with, you speed up your talk. You start saying things quickly. And now it's a coping mechanism. Speaking quickly will stop you from effectively communicating. You need to slow down. You need to take your time. I promise you, no matter how slow you may think you're speaking, you could speak even slower. So slow it down. Relax a little bit. And you also find that when you rush your speech, you tend to make mistakes. But when you slow down, you can actually pronounce each word properly and you can continue what you're saying, think about what you're saying, and you're not making any mistakes now. Let's say I'm trying to say, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper, a peck of pickled pepper Peter Piper picked. A Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. Where's a peck of pickled pepper Peter Piper picked? I said that pretty well, but I messed it up a little bit. But if I said, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper, a peck of pickled pepper Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper, where's the peck of pickled pepper Peter Piper picked? One tongue twister, said quickly, said slowly. When I said it slowly, it was easy even though it's a tongue twister. I didn't struggle because I said it slowly. So, slow down your speech. Realize your words are valuable. Realize you don't need to rush for anyone. If people aren't willing to listen to you, then don't talk to those people because your words are valuable and every person deserves to be listened to, especially when it's someone like you who's working on yourself and you actually have some interesting insights that you're reading in books, you're listening to in podcasts, and that you're thinking about that no one else is thinking about. So slow down. And if you've liked this advice so far, I have a community where I help young men live purposeful lives and reach their full potential. And in this community, I help young men with everything that pertains to a young man's life, self-improvement for young men. And one of the main things that people often want to improve on is their communication. Join the community and be surrounded by like-minded individuals from around the world who are trying to improve themselves. And I can help you personally improve your communication because there's so much more to it. The second thing you need to do if you want to become an effective speaker is you need to tell stories. Stories are a game changer. I told you that a few days ago I had to give an impromptu speech at this 10-year memorial service. There was probably around 200 people there, and I get called to the front to speak. You're like, what? I think there's a statistic, it's about 80% of people in America have a fear of public speaking, something crazy like that. But I'm told to speak now, and I don't know what to say. But because I'm an effective communicator, I knew I'm going to lead with a story. If you observe people speaking in the near future, the next time you get the chance to, notice that the people who just say the points they have to say with no stories are a bit less interesting than the people who lead with a story and then go into what they have to say. Stories captivate us. You want to know what happened next, and when you can become a good storyteller, I promise you, it's game over. You're going to become a very, very good, effective speaker. So start telling stories. And there's a lot of advice I can tell you about storytelling, but the one piece of advice I'm going to give you now is learn how to speak in your authentic voice. And what I mean by that is get into the story. Find yourself in that story and act as if you're reliving the events in the story. Relive the emotions. Relive everything that occurred. And as you relive it, as you tell it, people will feel like they're in the story as well. They'll feel like they've been taken out of reality and brought into the story. And then people are going to become so much more interested in what you're saying. So rather than just speaking in a monotone voice, oh yeah, so this happened yesterday and this happened today, you're going to relive the events and they're going to feel the emotion. And maybe you need to close your eyes to get into it, but relive the emotions, relive the story, relive the events. And as you do that, I promise you your storytelling will improve. Pretend you were there. Pretend you're experiencing it again. And everyone else will experience it with you. That's very important. The third thing you're going to do if you want to become an effective speaker is to practice. I am an effective speaker. I can speak really well, but I can still improve. I can still get better. And I've come a long way. I used to stammer. I used to stutter. I used to be scared of large crowds. But now I'm getting invited to events to speak. I'm getting invited to services to give talks. Whether I know it or not, like on Sunday, you have to practice. You need to go outside of your comfort zone and practice. There's a guy in my community called Thomas. I'll say his name. And Thomas struggled with speaking in front of large crowds, just like most people do. But I pushed him to speak in his church, and he gave a talk, and he struggled the first time, but he did well. It was tough for him, just like it would be for anyone, but he did well. He did it the second time, and it was 10 times easier. He was less nervous, his hands weren't twitching as much. He was so much more confident. If he does that 10 more times, he's going to be a professional. It's not going to be hard at all. So, if you want to improve your communication skills, you need to practice. I have been practicing so much, and that's why I'm getting better. Making this YouTube video is practice. Making videos on TikTok, where you should follow me, 170,000 followers. Practice as well. Continue practicing. Continue mastering your craft. You can never be perfect, so keep on going, keep on trying, keep on improving. And if you want help with improving your communication skills, join my community. Like I said, I help young men live purposeful lives and reach their full potential. And if you're in the community, I can help you. And you'll be surrounded by like-minded individuals as well, who can hold you accountable. So, when Thomas said that he spoke at his church, I told him, do it again. I mean, I pushed him to speak the first time, because I said, you go to a church, there's a large congregation of 100+ people, why don't you speak there? And he was like, you know what, let me try it. He took action straight away, and he was speaking a week later in the service. I pushed him to do it again, and he did it again. And I'm going to keep on pushing him. And now it's going to help him. He said that doing presentations where he would be scared in the past are now easier. He's now confident. You need that accountability. You need people who are going to push you outside of your comfort zone. And that's what you're going to get if you join my community. So if you're interested, click the description and join the community. I'll see you in there.